So, hey, people of God, this is Rashana B. back with On My Way Up movement, and I'm back with an awesome word. So, I wanted to talk about how a place of pain can become a stronghold. Okay, I wanted to talk about the fact that a lot of us are in pain and we don't acknowledge it. I know a lot of people, even famous people, like even Maya Angelou, a woman that I loved and adored, like one of my most favorite people on earth at a point. She's passed now, of course, everybody knows, but I loved Maya Angelou. I read her books, I read her poems. She's back, actually still very inspirational for me. And she was molested, she was raped as a child. And she talked about it on an interview that she just don't think about it. That's what she said. And back then, I didn't really pay any attention to it. But now that I'm older and I'm maturing more spiritually, I often wonder, like, how much further does she have went, or in what areas were her life so affected by the fact that she never acknowledged her pain. God could have made us a people that never experienced pain. Okay, there's a rare nervous disorder called CIPA, SEPA. It's where you have no feeling, no sensation to pain, right? God could have made us that way, but there's a reason why we feel pain. Pain is an indicator that we need to acknowledge, that we need to deal with something, that something needs help, something needs tending to. Pain is a bad girl. That's a woman that you cannot ignore. She's a thing that you cannot ignore. You have to acknowledge her. She will continue to cripple, derail, and disable you until you acknowledge her. Imagine a person that does not feel pain. I just looked at a story of a young girl that has that condition. The quality of her life is so poor. There is so much that she cannot do, so many places that she cannot go because she cannot feel pain. She can walk in a fire and it not hurt. She can step on a 10-inch nail and feel nothing and continue to walk as though nothing happened because she cannot feel pain. And so we do this psychologically. We ignore our pain and just don't think about it. We try to forget about it. And the truth of the matter is that because of the way that we're made, it's going to manifest some way, somehow. Now, there are people who can be fairly successful, ignoring pain, ignoring trauma. But somewhere, some way, somehow it manifests itself, whether through a relationship, it will mostly manifest itself relationally with other humans. Like you can get to the top of the ladder in your career, yet you can't maintain a relationship, a friendship, things of that nature. Somehow, some way, you're OCD, okay? Maybe you're really insecure, but somehow, some way, that trauma is manifesting itself. And until we acknowledge, it will continue to derail, delay, and detour us. It actually works like witchcraft, believe it or not. And the reason why I say that is because when I was in pain and I didn't acknowledge my trauma, I would attract certain people. When God gave me the revelation on why I kept attracting narcissists, selecting narcissists, the revelation that He gave me was that they were like sharks that smell blood. I was walking around here leaking blood from a trauma that was unattended, and wolves were smelling it. And what happens is why it works like witchcraft is because I am continuing to reinforce that trauma, reinforced it, relationship after relationship, reinforcing that trauma, reinforcing that trauma. Now I got more issues to deal with than what I initially had because I've reinforced this trauma. I've assaulted the injury twice over, three times over, four times over. And so many of us do not acknowledge our pain, and it attracts the wrong things. And it will keep us bound. It will keep us from reaching our full potential. And if you're anything like me, I need my pain to make sense. I need to know that I survived, that I went through that for a good reason, for some good. Now, I'm not saying that God allowed that to happen or that God was the author of that situation, but I know that He uses the bad for the good. And I know that now, because I have went through a certain trauma, there's a certain sect of people that I can talk to and relate to with a passion that's effective and that brings healing unto them. Likewise for yourself. And so it brings me to scripture with David. When David was running for his life in 1 Samuel chapter 22, the scripture tells us that he ran to this cave. He was distressed. There was a hit put out on him, excuse me, you guys, from King Saul. He runs into this. to Adullam, the cave. And so it says that all kind of men started coming there. They were distressed. They were in debt. They were like the ragtags of society. All came into this cave, including his brothers who once rejected him. I just did a video on that. They all come into this cave where they end up fortifying themselves. They end up gaining more confidence. They become a strong army and fight alongside one of the most famous kings of all time, David. David wasn't just a king, David was a warlord. He was always on war campaigns throughout his 40-year reign and was successful. Successful, hands down. They were able to fight alongside a man that God chose, a chosen one. And it built their confidence, and I'm sure their quality of life improved because they put all their pain together and fortified each other, strengthened each other. That cave of Adullam ended up becoming an established stronghold because in First Chronicles chapter 11, 15 through 16, it tells us that David would go back there. This became a known stronghold for other people or for the king and his army. It became known, it was established. So David had found that that place of pain actually became his stronghold, and people were being strengthened in that stronghold. I said all that to say this. Somebody, if once you acknowledge your pain, somebody can get blessed and get strengthened by that. Somebody can be inspired by that. But as long as you're not acknowledging it, no one can. And all you do is get sicker. See, if you have a splinter or a nail or something in your hand, nobody just ignores that. Nobody ignores it. You're gonna pull it out. You're gonna just go ahead and just get that pain over with, pull it out, let the infection and everything that needs to leak out, bandage it, let it scab up, and move on. But you have some people psychologically that are looking at a nail in their hand, looking at a splinter in their hand, not pulling it out. All they're doing is just covering it up. They're not even using that hand, which means that they're not even operating in their full capacity. They're only using the hand that doesn't have anything wrong with it. But the other hand, they're keeping it close to themselves and covering it and nurturing it and babying it and prolonging the pain. And now it's infected, it's corroded. And so we know that what happens eventually is that amputation becomes an issue. And so now you're forever debilitated. Same thing psychologically. Same thing psychologically. We are beautifully and wonderfully made. Translations say complexly made. We are. The psychology, the psyche of the human mind is astonishing. And there are things that are buried there. Subconscious things going on. This is why when I pray, oftentimes I say, God, shed light into the recesses of my soul. There are things that I don't know that is there, that I need you to shed light. Shed light in the cobwebby places, the dark places, the damp places, meaning the forgotten places, the places I don't know anything about, the things that are unacknowledged, things that I buried so deeply that I don't even remember, but they are affecting and manifesting in my life, and they're hindering me because I want to operate in my full capacity. Your pain can become a place of a stronghold. Okay. And when I say stronghold, I'm not meaning like, a satanic cord or anything like that. When I say stronghold, I mean like a place of protection, a place that is fortified, like David, like King, like the cave of Adullam. That was a stronghold. That was a place they ran to for refuge, protection, and safety. You can actually provide that for people with your trauma, with your pain. People will look at you and see, wow, this woman survived that. Not only did she survive, but she thrived. See, we can survive trauma, but do we thrive? If we don't acknowledge it, we won't thrive. We'll just survive it. We'll live a poor quality of life, and poor quality of life in some area in our life is a lot poor and a lot beneath God's standards for us. But imagine if we acknowledge it, let God shed light in every area of our life, even the dark, damp, forgotten places like I prayed. Okay? Because there are parts that are so deep in you, science can't even touch it. Science can't even touch it. Biology cannot touch it. It's a place in you that is spiritual that only God can touch. It's things in you, they can hook up machines and all kind of things to you, and they could not detect what God, what the Spirit of God can reveal to you. God could have created us to be a people that never felt pain. He created us to be a people that feel pain, that have emotions, because those are indicators for us to acknowledge, to keep us safe, to protect ourselves. to show ourselves respect, to be good stewards over ourselves. Believe it or not, you not acknowledging your pain, that in itself is a sin because you're not being a good steward over your body. You are charged as a child of God to be a good steward over everything God gives you. So, people of God, I hope that this word blesses you. Again, understand that your place of pain can become a place, a stronghold. It can become a place of refuge, a place of safety and protection. So please like, subscribe, share, comment, and tell me what you all think about my content. And I'll be back with another word.